Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and in this one, we're going to be talking about three massive stories from the 90s and how they relate to Earth H. So, the first one is Thanos in the Infinity Gauntlet, the second one is Doomsday versus Superman. And last but not least, we have Batman versus Bane. But before we get into that, smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and as always, leave us a comment. That helps us out on our end with the YouTube algorithm, but also we love hearing from you guys. We have an awesome community here, and that's because of you. So thank you so much for being here. So, having said all that, let's get into it. The prologue is the Infinity Gauntlet saga. And unlike the other two parts of this video, we don't change a thing. I could explain it to you, but I feel like everybody probably already knows the story, right? Thanos gets his hands on the gems, he puts them on his gauntlet. He has phenomenal cosmic power. He's trying to impress Death herself, right? And she's not impressed. So Mephisto was whispering in the ear of Thanos and convinces him to limit himself, basically, that such a one-sided fight is never going to impress Death. And then when he limits himself, this proves to be his undoing. And so again, the whole Infinity Gauntlet part of this adventure is resolved exactly the way it was in the comics. So then that's the prologue. So we move on to what was the main body of this one. And this is Doomsday, just like in the comics, busts up out of the ground, right? He's wearing the green outfit that hides the majority of his body. A bird lands in his hand and he crushes it, and he kills a deer that is nearby. And we are telegraphing to everybody that he's bad, right? He's just bad through and through. He has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. So he goes on a rampage across the country, which ends up in Metropolis, where he faces off against Superman. And now this is where we changed things up, not only from how it goes in the comics, but also we changed it from the way it happened on Earth K, which I'll talk about really super briefly. On Earth K, Lois Lane became Superwoman, and her and Clark Kent, they got married. They had a bunch of kids, actually. The kids after that were fully powered because of her Superwoman powers, right? But before she became Superwoman is when Clark Jr. was born. And we wanted him to represent the idea of the post-crisis Superman that was not as powerful as the pre-crisis Superman, right? So so that is why we said she didn't become Superwoman until later. Well, now here on Earth H, we're saying she became Superwoman first. So that means when Clark Jr. was born, which would be around 1945, maybe 1946, because we're saying at the end of World War II is when Lois and Clark got married. And they would have conceived Clark Jr. like right away, pretty much on the wedding night. So that gives you an idea of about how old he would be in 1992, right? Well, so he's fully powered. He may as well be totally Kryptonian, right? Unlike his counterpart from Earth K, who died, by the way, when he fought Doomsday, because Doomsday comes from Krypton. He's like a science experiment. He's basically a mutant Kryptonian, for want of an easy, brief, descriptor there. So having a full-blooded like Kryptonian monster fight someone who's only half Kryptonian, who has half the stats that you do on Earth K, the post-crisis Superman died, right? But here, now we have Superman Senior and Superman Junior, and they team up to fight Doomsday. I keep wanting to say Darkseid. Um, but yeah, so they're doing it, and then we brought in Kara Zor-El, who, by the way, in on Earth H during the Crisis event, Kara did not die. Clark Sr. was not exposed to gold kryptonite, none of that. In this version, it's a complete, win for the heroes all around. So with all these characters involved, they just beat down Doomsday. So the good guys win, Doomsday goes in the Phantom Zone. And then that brings us to the epilogue. And this is very similar vibe, right? We play it out. And on the hero side, the bad guys, obviously Bane. But on the side of the heroes, we've got Bruce Wayne, who is young. We mentioned this in an earlier video that on Earth H, when Steve Trevor married Wonder Woman and they moved to Paradise Island to live there, right? Um, Steve Trevor helped the Amazons get over their dislike of men. And so part of that whole story was that for the wedding, characters like Batman were allowed on Paradise Island as wedding guests. And the reason we did that was because Paradise Island is surrounded by the mists of eternal youth back in the pre-crisis era. So by visiting Paradise Island, Bruce Wayne, Selina Kyle, which would be Selina Wayne now, Dick Grayson, so on and so forth, none of them are ever going to grow old and die of old age. Now they could obviously be hurt, they could be, punched or shot or whatever, but not from old age. They have what GURPS would call the unaging advantage. But at any rate, so that said, right, for the Bane fight, we've got Bruce Wayne and he's perfectly healthy and at the top of his game, right? Um, Dick Grayson, the first Robin, is helping him. Bruce Wayne Jr., who in our game world is the son of Bruce Sr. and Selina Kyle, right? The Huntress, who is the daughter of Bruce and Selina. Who am I leaving out? Jason Todd on Earth H never died. So he is here as Red Hood, you know? Um, we've got the Tim Drake Robin who's helping out. So like we've got a ton of these characters, and Bane just gets eaten alive in this fight, right? Um, and this is another one of those things where if you look at the stats they give Bane in the game, he's just not all that. Like he's tough and in a one-on-one fight, if he gets good rolls and stuff, yes, he can win. But Batman's no slouch in the numbers department. And for him to have all these other characters helping him, geez, I even forgot to mention um the Kathy Kane Batwoman from the Silver Age. We have her and she's still young. Carrie Kelly. I mean, I'm leaving people out, right? But you get the idea. There's the Bat family is substantial. Um, so yeah, they take care of Bane. And so it's more like in this continuity, then it's more like Azrael sort of joins the Bat family rather than he takes over for Batman. In this, what I'm trying to do with that is it's the idea is that Earth H is just a little more, what would you say? Like a little bit of a lighter tone than some of the other games I've ran. A lot of the other games deal a lot in tragedy, things go really wrong for the hero, so on and so forth. That's not how things work on Earth H. Um, So yeah, that was it for this one. Like I said, pretty short video. We had a good time playing all this stuff. We hope that you enjoyed hearing about it. Um, Let me know in the comments section. Did you guys ever run a game with like the Infinity Gauntlet? Did you ever run a Death of Superman game? Did you ever do the whole Nightfall thing in DC Heroes, or maybe some other system like Mutants and Masterminds or GURP Supers, which is a favorite of mine? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments section. While you're at it, smash like, check to see if you're subscribed, all that jazz. And we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.